Hello, I welcome you all, my dear students. I'm your Tharun sir, and this is your English class. Today, we are going to learn articles, which is really important topic for your paper 2 examination. Students, let us see what are articles and how well we have to learn articles. You know what? Before starting articles, let me remind you that articles are something used as an adjective, even sometimes to define things, define the places, define an object, whatever it is. So therefore the other name of the articles is also called as demonstrative adjectives. So let us see what we have for articles. Articles are two kinds. Okay, articles are two kinds. First one, we have indefinite. They are a and an. These are the articles which are called indefinite articles. Okay, and the second one that we have here, definite. Only one we have, that is the. So today we are going to learn how well we have to use these and the. These three articles and how well we have to put it in your examinations without any errors. Okay, students, get ready now. Indefinite articles are a and the. A and an. That is what? Definite article. All right. So when we have to use a, let us see. Usage of a. I'm not saying a, I'm saying a. Students, I must remind most of the students, like since their childhood, they have been learning pronouncing this a letter, which we have to make to sound it like a, not a. It's like a. Okay. So let's see this a. Usage of a is a. Okay. Before singular countable nouns. Usage of a before singular countable nouns, but how? That starts with or begin. That starts or begin with consonants, sounds. Consonant sounds. This is really important. So let us check this one, what I have written now. Usage of a before singular countable nouns that begin with consonant sounds. I'm not talking about the letters here. I'm talking about the consonant sounds. You know what? A, E, I, O, U. These are the 5 letters which comes under vowels, right? Other than vowels, the rest of the letters are called as what? Consonants. So today, we are learning that a is used before a consonant which sounds more like a consonant. Let me write you some examples here. A book, a pen, A car, this way. So listen, this B is a consonant. B, the letter B is a consonant. And also students, it sounds like a consonant. No vowel sound is implicated here. Book, pen, car. A book, a pen, a car. These are countables. We can count. We can take down the count of the books. We can take down the count of the pens as well as cars. And this must be singular. And you know what? Why these are called indefinite articles? Why A is called as indefinite article? When the speaker or the writer, they are not at all specific. Like if I say one example, I saw a lizard. I saw a lizard. All right. I'm not specific. Like in general, I call it. I saw a lizard. She wore a hat. She wore a hat. Is it clear? When the speaker or the writer is not specified, their general intention is very normal. In that cases, we use indefinite article A. And you know, these are the examples. Let's see now. I'm going to rub this one. More about the usage of a. Usage of A. You have understood, students, and most of you knew already that A is used before consonants, but you have to be very specified that it has to be a countable noun and moreover it has to be a singular one. All right. So next case, usage of A. A is also used before some words starts or begin with A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U, but sounds like a consonant. There are quite some scenarios like you have to note these points, students. In competitive examinations and moreover for your paper 2, these kind of questions will be asked wherein it is a note to you. Because see, let's the examples for this usage. A university, a European, a 1 rupee note. Let's see, students. U is a vowel. Is a vowel, right? So why we need to use before a consonant? Like, you know, A is used only for the before singular countable nouns that begin with consonant sounds. Just now I have said that this is the only rule that we have to follow. But why I must take this A before a vowel? There is a valuable reason here. Students, listen. Even though it is you, it sounds like yo. Yo is what, you know? Y. Y is a consonant. It sounds like a consonant. Actually, U is a vowel which has to be pronounced or sound like a vowel, like in the case of an umbrella. An umbrella. But here it sounds like a consonant, like Ya sound. University, U. A European, a 1 rupee note. Here V. V is what? Consonant. 1. And 1, it's not 1 rupee note. Oh, no. It's incorrect to pronounce in that way. Here, a 1 rupee note. Va. Va is what? It is a consonant sound. Therefore, so these letters, these words starts with the letters of vowels, but still we got to use A, which is really important to note this. This is a peculiar scenario. You understand? So this is the usage of A. First of all, students, let me end up learning about A. We have to learn and the even. So listen here. Before singular countable nouns that starts or begin with consonant sounds. That is really important. Okay? And you know what? A, but it must be sound like a book, a pen, a car. All right. So here, the next case where we have to use A for particular some words, particularly some words. So they might start with vowels, but they do sound like a consonant. Therefore, we got to use this A before these words. All right. Once again, I'll tell you, even though it is U, it sounds like a consonant. Yo, university, yo, Y sound like European. Okay, European. The more stress is on ro, second letter. U, it's like stopping letter. I have to stop there, cut and draw, which is even consonant. And here the first letter itself, va. It's not on rupee note, it's 1 rupee note. So va is what? A consonant. So therefore, I have used in this way. Students, never forget, a is used before singular countable nouns. Singular countable nouns. So please take a screenshot, or students, or else you can note it down in your classwork. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this. Now let us see usage of and. And is used before singular countable nouns and is used before singular countable nouns that begin with vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. So I'm talking about sounds. It's not the letters that matters, students. When we are in kindergarten, or maybe like first class, second class, third class, we might have learned like before vowels we have to the words which starts with vowels we have to use and for the consonants we have to use a, like but it has to be sounds, not the letters. Just now, just before a while, you got the proper examples noted for a. So now, let us see for and. Okay. So here, the examples that I'm going to write: an apple, an orange, an orphan, an event. These are all the finest examples: an airplane, an owl, an ice cream, an iPad, an iPod, whatever. I-E-I-O-U. These sounds, not the letters exactly, but the sounds matters here, students. All right. So next case. Before some words, same like in A. Here we have some particular note. Before some words that begin with consonants but sounds like vowels. So in what cases? Let us see some examples here. So let's see these examples. An hour, an honorable man, and heir. Why we have to take, even though it is H, H is what you know, a consonant. But before consonants, we don't imply and, right? But here, why we have used so? Because students, H is very silent letter wherein we have to stress an hour, which is a vowel. The next letter here we have is vowel. And the stress is on the second letter. An hour, an honorable man, and heir. It's not hair and hair. Okay? The sound, the stress is on the vowel letter. That you got to understand, students. So this is the second scenario. And is used before the singular countable nouns that begin with vowel sounds. Okay? With vowel sounds, not vowel letters. Vowel sounds. So here in the second case, though sometimes and is used before some words that starts with consonants, but more it sounds like vowel. That is what really important. Okay? So please note down or take a screenshot of this, students. I'm going to grab this board. Take a screenshot, students. Stay focused, students. We are in the middle of articles. We have much to learn. Okay. So, articles, why we say these are, why these a and why this an are indefinite articles. Why? Let us see some examples, and I'll make you very much sure that you will understand the purpose they call them as indefinite. Like, you know, Listen, students. Here, a is used and earn is used. Students, here, a cow is a domestic animal. Why we have to say a cow? There are lots of cows in the world, right? Why a cow we have to use? Because sometimes a refers to some particular class or maybe type or sometimes generally. Like, you know, it represents the entire cows in the world. It represents the same type. Here, see, an altimeter helps in noting the heights. An altimeter, maybe it is manufactured in India, maybe it must be manufactured in America or somewhere else. But the job that is done by this altimeter remains the same, right? So therefore, it refers to the same genre in this scenario. So let's say in this case, by looking at these particular examples, we can say, like, you know, in general, not so specifically, when a speaker made to use or define things. When the speaker made to define things, we use like a or an. So I hope you must have understood about a and an. Now let's check what we have to do with the article the. Okay, the. First of all, students, before giving a brief introduction, about the article, I'll write an example which really clears all your doubts. One single example can shut all the doubts in your mind right now. What is that, you know? My father went to the market. He brought Listen, my father went to the market. He brought an iPod and a novel. He brought what? He brought an iPod and a novel. Then he gave the iPod to me and the novel to my sister. Look at this perfect example. My father went to the market, like the I have used. When the is used before a particular place, it tells that the reader or the speaker, he knew or she knew that is particularly the same context wherein we are talking about. Okay, so let's see that next. He brought an iPod. Listen, I is a vowel, okay, and a novel, N is a consonant here, N sounds like a consonant, I sounds like a vowel. Then he gave the iPod to me and the novel to my sister. Just now we got to learn some rules related to a and, right? So why I used the again? Listen, students, I'm talking about the first iPod and the novel which was brought by my father. That novel, that iPod. I mean to say that the novel which brought by my father, then the iPod which brought by my father. So it implies here definite usage. When the speaker is definite about his words and he's so specific, it's not generalized. It is purely the knowledge of the speaker when he got to use the. You understood now? Why the is called as a definite article and why and an are called as indefinite articles. This is a perfect example, students, you got to understand. All right? So please note down this particular example. And let's say we have so many usages where we got to use the. It's not limited. It's not limited to the a or an. There are so many things that we have to learn where we have to use the. All right? So please take a screenshot before my starting particular areas where the has to be used. Thank you. There are a lot more cases wherein we have to use the, but particularly I'll write a few which are really important, which may not be known to most of the students. We can discuss those, okay? So first one, musical instruments. Before musical instruments, like, you know, the guitar, the violin, the orchestra, you know what? The is used before that. You never use any a or an. All right? So I'm writing here examples. The violin, the guitar. Okay? So the orchestra example. Next. Before the body parts, you know what? We never say a head and a hair. It's not that, right? The neck, the shoulder, the knees. So this is how we have to write. Okay. Next case. Before aggressive nations. Before aggressive nations abbreviations, like some nations, they got to use some abbreviations to the names of, you know what, their countries, like the USA, the USSR, the UAE. So before these aggressive nations, abbreviations, we have to use the. Okay? Next. Students, before the names of the banks, as well as some government organizations or government schemes which are undertaken, like the government schemes, I'll say next, like the SBI, the ICICI Bank, the Andhra Bank. Next, like government schemes. What are government schemes? Like the NABARD, etc. The NABARD, NABARD, the NABARD. It's like certain government scheme which specifically, like next. Names of ships and planes. Names of ships and planes. You know what? Most of the students, like the ship, they know only Titanic. Let's say the Titanic, the Jalausha, like planes, aeroplanes, like the Lufthansa, the Indigo, the Kingfisher. These are all part of, the names of the planes, ships and planes. Please note down or take a screenshot, students, immediately, as we don't have much time. Next, like 5 usages, 5 places. Now next we got to see more. Sixth one, before the directions. What directions do we have? What directions, students? Like the east, the west, the north, the south. You never use any other article, okay? The southern part, the northern part, the eastern Ghats, the western Ghats, for all these you got to use whenever it's like a direction mentioned in the sentences. Students, you got to write the, never forget, okay? Holy books. Holy books, you know, right? Holy books. The Bible, the Quran, the Ramayana. Okay? Comparative. When we use for comparison, comparative degree, right? Degrees are 3 kinds, like superlative degree, positive degree, and comparative degree. I'm talking about comparative degree. So, in such cases, the comparisons, therefore, I have written comparisons, like, this boy is taller than the girl. This boy is taller than the girl or third girl. So here in this scenario also, we got to use the specifically like comparatives. In most of the comparative cases, we got to use the. All right, particular things. Next. Some class or maybe definite group. Like, you must have heard most of the times the rich, the poor, the orphans, the disabled. So these are not particularly grouped students, but when we intensify speaking about those, like without our knowledge, we got to use the. So in that scenarios also, particular the rich, the poor, the disabled. Like, when we intensify a group of people, in that scenario, in that cases also we got to use the. All right. So please note down that. Next 10th, we have before the names of newspapers, like the Hindu, the Deccan Chronicle. All right, students. But now the 11th case, which I am going to say, is really, you all know this, but still I have to remind these all in one particular scenario, even though those are different. So what are those? Like names of mountains, plateaus, gulfs, rivers, islands, channels, falls. See, let me go through some of the examples. Look at here, students, the mountains, the Himalayas, the Alps. We say the Himalayas, we don't say Himalayas. The Himalayas, the Alps, plateaus, the Deccan Plateau, the Indo-Gangetic Plateau or plain, Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Mannar, the Gulf of Saudi, rivers, the Gangas, islands, most of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the Maldives, channels, the Sutlej, falls, the Niagara Falls, Gincana Falls, the Niagara Falls. These are pretty good examples. All right. So we have learned so much today. Students, there are a few more scenarios wherein we got to use the as well as a specific scenario for even, and we will see in the next class when we learn these articles with prepositions as well. In the next class, students, I hope you have understood well where where am and the are used in particularly making your sentences. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks a lot, students. If you have any sort of doubts, ping me to my WhatsApp number or maybe You can watch my videos on my channel. You have Achievers120. Thank you. Thanks a lot.